Hi, welcome back to Wild on Wheels. Today's episode, wait for it, we have a 500,000 mile engine. I personally myself put basically all of those miles on this engine. So I can guarantee you that this engine does actually have 500,000 miles on it. It actually has just a scotch over. I think if I remember correctly, it's 510 or 515, somewhere around there. So this thing's got well over 500,000 miles on it. What does it look like on the inside? I don't know, and I really do. But before we can do that, we got to get this thing cleaned up. I mean, look at this thing. It's an absolute mess. So what I did, took the trouble of going out to O'Reilly's and to Napa both, and I even went to Safeway, and I picked up a couple of every single one of the engine degreasers that I could find on the shelf. We got Gunk Engine Cleaner Foamy. We have Gunk Engine Degreaser Original. We have Max Foaming Engine Degreaser. We have CRC Heavy Duty Pro Strength Degreaser. We have CRC Engine Degreaser. And we have Easy Off Oven Cleaner Heavy Duty. So I've heard wives' tales that oven cleaner is actually the best way to degrease your engine. I don't know. We're going to try it out. We're going to see what it does to the aluminum. Does it etch the aluminum? Does it discolor it? Does it actually degrease anything? I don't know. Now, as you can see, this engine is absolutely caked on. It's not just, a layer of just engine grime. This sucker is caked on there. So these things are up for a pretty heavy duty challenge. Now, before we can tear this engine apart, kind of want to get it cleaned up a little bit. So we're going to kind of do, like a Project Farm style, thing. And I'm sure he's probably done a video on engine degreasers, but we have an actual greasy engine that needs to be degreased. So let's give it a shot on this. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to kind of break the engine up into, like, let's say we'll do, the engine cleaner foamy, and then we'll just do the engine degreaser original. We'll do the CRC Pro Strength, and we'll do the CRC engine degreaser, and then maybe we can do the oven cleaner and Max. You know what I'm saying? We'll just kind of split the engine up into, I'm not going to tape it off and whatever. We're going to get super crazy with it, but we're just going to try it out, and we're just going to see which one works, which one doesn't, which one's the best money to spend. This is going to be a tough job for any one of these, and we'll see. And I'm going to saturate. We're going to try to give each one of these the absolute best chance possible. I'm not going to use any brushes or anything like that to break anything up. We're just going to soak it as best we can. And then I'm going to take it outside. I'm going to set it right there in the gravel. I'll get my pressure washer out. We'll give it about 15 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and hit it with a pressure washer and see what happens. We'll see which area it cleans up the best. And then after that, next week, we're going to start tearing this thing apart. I got to see, what does a 500,000 mile engine look like on the inside? That I got to know. I just got to know. Wow, there's big old chunks coming off already. Will say, look how well it's not foam, but it's almost like a gel, and it really just sticks there, which I kind of like. If you look at the rest of the engine, even all the foams and everything else, they've already just turned into like a liquid. This has stayed put on the actual engine. Like it's not coming off. It's like a gel. And that may be what actually, because there's a lot of people out there saying that the oven cleaner works better. And it may be because because it's the gel and it just sticks and actually stays and does cleaning. Okay, let me get the pressure washer set up outside and get that ready to go. That should give us about 15 minutes. Today's Bible verse, Galatians 5:13. For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters. But don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love. Not gonna lie, it's pretty impressive. I mean, you saw that engine before. It was gnarly. Now, what I did do, just so we can kind of determine which cleaner I think worked the best, on the valve cover here, right, we soaked it down real good, and when I pressure washed it, I just hit it with one good pass back and forth, and then I stopped there. I could have kept going and probably got the rest of the grease off, but I just wanted to give it just kind of a apples to apples comparison. Which one cleaned better? So we can see this one right here, not as good as that one. I think that one cleaned off more stuff. If you look over here, this one cleaned off like 95% of it. That one probably got 50%. This one's better, right? So come over here and take a look at this engine. You saw what it looked like just a second ago. Let's do a quick look at it. The Max, it was up for a big challenge. This was, I mean, you saw how much gunk was in here. I think the Max actually did a great job cleaning. There's some thick, chunky stuff on there, but I mean, come on. This guy right here, that's gonna need to be scraped off. That's pretty thick and chunky there. But look at the heads. Man, those guys came right back around. Look at that. Even the side of the engine block. We still got a little bit of chunkies down in here, but man, look how well that did. Valve, then obviously you can also kind of see, like, right here is kind of the middle of the engine. This is where I used one and this is where I used another. It looks like this side of the oil pan is quite a bit cleaner than this side. Also, you can see it down in here, there seems to be less of these crusties and more of the actual paint. This guy right here, you can see we still have a little bit more soot kind of in this area. We got a little bit more on the wall, on the cylinder block right here, and then obviously the oil pan seems to have a little bit more. And you might think like, well, nothing's really gonna get that off, but then something will get it off. I mean, look at this guy. Look at the valve cover. This half of the valve cover is obviously much cleaner than this half of the valve cover. This side of the engine block, you can see we got some chunkies up in here. Oil pan seems to be fairly consistent across both halves, seems to be about the same. This one does look a little cleaner than this one, but And maybe I missed a couple spots. I would say these guys right here, and you can see this side of the valve cover, this side of the valve cover. This side's maybe a little bit cleaner. I don't know. Let's check out the, this is what I'm actually most impressed by. The oven cleaner. Look at the oven cleaner. Look at this. Look at that. I mean, there's basically nothing. Now, granted, this didn't have as much of the caked on thick stuff like the top of the engine. This was just more oily than anything, but look at that. It didn't like destroy the aluminum. The aluminum looks fine. The cast iron up here, it all looks fine. I'm thoroughly impressed. Look at the back of the heads. And these suckers are basically perfectly clean. Did a pretty good job, but I would say the oven cleaner did a better job on the heads, in my honest opinion. Okay, so I got them all kind of set up so we can kind of get a visual representation of which one we used in which area. Here, engine degreaser, the Gunk brand engine degreaser foamy. This is this section of the engine. It did a great job. It did a wonderful job considering what this engine looked like just moments before. Right here we have the Gunk engine degreaser original. It also did a great job. I think I might have missed this with the pressure washer. That's pretty soft. I can wipe that off. Maybe not. Maybe it didn't do a better job. You decide. Take a look. See what you think. Right here, easy off oven cleaner. I'm thoroughly impressed with this. Look at the sides of these heads. The back of the block down here. It's a little bit hard to see. I think they did a great job. Right over here, we have the CRC Pro Strength Degreaser. I think it did a great job. I really do. This right here, the CRC engine degreaser. Look at this guy. Holy cow. All the way down to the oil pan. You can see where the one ended and the other started. And then we got Max, or the Napa brand foaming engine degreaser. I think it did a really good job considering how much gunk was on here. But I think overall, just like here's a thick layer of gunk, what's gonna cut it down the best? I think that guy did it the best. Second best, I think this guy's gonna be the third best right here. I would say these three are kind of in a tie for kind of being lackluster. And I'm gonna say these three right here are gonna be the best. I think for the aluminum parts, absolutely oven cleaner. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. There's practically nothing on there. The Max did a great job. There's still a little bit. You're gonna have to hit that with a wire wheel and kind of, just kind of finish that up a little bit. Did pretty good on this guy here. Down here did all right. There's some really thick, crunchy stuff up here. I wouldn't expect much of anything to get that off. Max did a great job, but the CRCs, both of them did great on the aluminum. Great. The Gunk, not so great. So that's my opinion. I would go with oven cleaner or CRC engine degreaser, not the Pro Strength, not the blue can, red can, or the Max foaming engine degreaser. That stuff actually worked pretty dang good. All right, so now we got an idea. Let's go ahead and next week, I mean, for me, I'm gonna start taking it apart right now, but next week, we're gonna do the engine teardown and we're gonna take a look. And I have actual GM service manuals for this engine. So I'm going to be able to give you the exact GM specification for each component in here, and we're going to see how wore out is this engine really. Can you keep running it, or what? How does it look inside? What does a 500,000 mile engine look like on the inside?